Hi, this is my response to Module 3, Race, Ethnicity, and White Privilege, and I'm going to try to talk a little bit about the initial post from everyone else. So, Christina, you talked about you like the fact that we're finally in this type of model because it helps you to be aware of other ethnicities and to help us to keep our minds open and sensitive to other people's backgrounds. You talked about the theory of intersectionality, which is one of the theories that I focused on during my initial post. You stated that it was hard to follow, and I do agree with that statement, but I like it because it tries to incorporate all aspects of a person's identity outside of race, you know, and combining race as well. So I like the model. The critical race theory, as you stated, was easier to follow, of course, and it also made us aware of subtle racism, how we have to be aware of wording and the things that we say. You also talked about the model of black identity, which is the identity of becoming black. For myself, I actually became aware of my black identity. I think I was around the 5th or 6th grade, and I remember the first time. I mean, because up until that time, all my friends were white. You know, we had black students in the school, but at that time, you know, my best friend was white. You know, to me, it didn't matter about race. But I do remember that day that one of my male classmates saw me. We were out on the street. I was actually in the car, and he was going into the grocery store. And I thought we were cool. I thought we were great. But when he was coming out and he looked at me, and I smiled like I always do. I smile at everybody. And he looked at me and pointed and said the N-word to me. And that moment, and at that late stage of my life, even though I was, you know, in middle grade, that's when I knew basically that I was black. And from then on, my whole perspective changed about how people perceive me and how I have to make sure that others, you know, don't perceive me just because of my race. It just made me work a little bit more harder in everything. Catherine, you talked about the white racial consciousness model, and you also talked a little bit about how people of darker skin are first referred to by their race. Instead of other things, and that is so true. And even in African American identity, there is a subtle bias there. The lighter skinned black Americans have a different privilege than darker skinned black Americans, and that's so true. That was even true when it came to my own family, when you marry outside, or when you marry a darker skinned person, not my immediate family, I'm talking about generations ago, from great-great-grandparents, they tend to stigmatize, they tend to consider you an outsider, if you kind of like didn't follow the lines and keep everybody's skin color the same. Also, Brittany and Matthew, you touched on the Native American part. And how one thing about these theories is that they really don't address a lot about the Native Americans because there are so many diverse tribes. So it is kind of hard to research and effectively talk about all of them. I myself am part Cherokee, but I don't really know too much about it other than when I go to my family's, my father's side for the family reunions. It was obvious there that they are definitely Cherokee Indians, and they have the long, cold black hair. They have the facial features look just like those beautiful Indians that you see in the movies. And of course, again, this is that subtle racism. When my grandfather married my grandmother, she was darker skinned, so that kind of messed my line up. That's what they say. So we came out a little, you know, our generation's a little darker, but when we go to the family reunion, we see this whole different side, and they're all just so light and pure, you know. But it's like that subtle racism, but it goes on, and it is a part of our identity and our makeup. And so it is necessary that we're all aware of who we are, and that we're aware of other people's racial and ethnic makeup as well, and to be sensitive to the fact that people are different, and it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as we all blend together and get along. So I look forward to seeing you guys in class. Bye-bye.